Spectators at the NASCAR Cup Series race in November had front-row seats for a debate over the auto industry's future. A plane sponsored by nonprofit group Public Citizen flew past Phoenix Raceway carrying a banner. Want exciting? Drive electric. Want boring? Drive Toyota. The flyby followed an open letter to Akio Toyoda, chief executive officer at the world's largest carmaker, from groups including Public Citizen criticizing its slow rollout of electric vehicles. No automaker has been able to keep up with the surging consumer demand for battery electric vehicles, but Toyota has not even attempted to meet it, they wrote. Toyota can and must shift swiftly to EVs or risk obsolescence. While the NGOs' motivations were green ones, their message reflected a wider concern in the $2.25 trillion global automotive industry that Toyota Motor Corp and other Japanese carmakers risk losing their leading position by failing to shift to EVs fast enough. As the auto industry undergoes its biggest transformation in a generation, these storied brands are falling behind. Tesla is the world's top EV maker by vehicles sold, followed by companies including China's BYD Co. and Germany's Volkswagen AG, according to Bloomberg Intelligence. No Japanese carmaker makes the top 20, leaving them on the sidelines of the auto industry's fastest-growing sector. For the first 3 quarters of 2022, sales of battery-powered vehicles grew around 80% from a year earlier, while total vehicle sales fell about 4%, according to Bloomberg data. It's becoming a material part of the industry, and so far the Japanese are missing out on that, said Colin McCarricher, an analyst with Bloomberg NEF. Japan's biggest auto brands have long been consumer favorites around the world, typically accounting for more than a third of new car sales in the US and dominating markets from Southeast Asia to Africa. Their absence from the EV segment is particularly baffling because of their early start with eco-friendly vehicles, including Toyota's Prius. The mass-market hybrid launched a quarter of a century ago, and one-time top pick of Hollywood stars seeking green credentials. In 2009, Nissan Motor Co. unveiled the Leaf, an all-electric hatchback considered a pioneer in mass-market EVs. That same year, Mitsubishi Motors Corp. also launched its first EV. In 2010, Toyota invested in Tesla. Enthusiasm over the early EV models, though, quickly faded due to tepid sales, convinced the battery revolution would happen only slowly. Japanese carmakers focused on gasoline-electric hybrids and cooperated with the ambitions of Tokyo technocrats to develop hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, a nascent technology with potential to be even greener than EVs. In September, CEO Toyota said battery electric vehicles are just going to take longer than the media would like us to believe. The company also says it's on a mission to reduce CO2 emissions but doesn't want to limit its focus to all battery cars. In this diversified world, in an age where we do not know what the correct answer is, it is difficult to make everyone happy with only one option, the company said in a statement. Now, even as high gasoline prices and government incentives boost demand, Japan's automakers have little to offer those seeking to avoid gasoline-powered cars, including potential Tesla buyers turned off by Elon Musk's controversial management of Twitter. The battery vehicles they do sell can be disappointing. Toyota in May launched the BZ4X electric SUV but halted sales in June because a defect could cause its wheels to fall off. Sales have since resumed, albeit in limited quantities. The Japanese car industry needs to catch up, said former Nissan executive Masato Inoue, chief product designer of its first EV, the Nissan Leaf. It already could be too late. His former boss, the former Nissan chairman and early champion of the Leaf, Carlos Ghosn, agreed. Nissan lost its early mover advantage, he said, predicting Japanese carmakers will likely struggle to catch up with rivals including Chinese EV maker BYD. Electrification investment announcements now are too little, too late. While such criticism is to be expected from Ghosn, who was arrested in 2018 on charges of financial misconduct at Nissan and lives in Lebanon after staging a dramatic escape from Japan, he's not the only one who's pessimistic. Japanese automakers look like they're already left behind and incapable of taking a lead position, said Shingo Aide. 6 major Japanese automakers had about 40% of the US market for passenger vehicles in 2021, roughly the same as before the pandemic started. But in the second quarter of 2022, their share fell to 34%, and by the third quarter it was 32%, according to Bloomberg data. General Motors Co. last year took Toyota's crown as the top seller in the US, with the Japanese company reporting its US sales fell 9.6% in 2022. As more Americans choose EVs, Japanese brands, for decades a top choice for everyone from first-time drivers to suburban soccer moms, are the biggest losers. Consumers moving to electric vehicles in 2022 are largely doing so from Toyota and Honda, brands which have been unable to keep their internal combustion owners loyal until their own brands begin to participate more significantly in the EV transition. S&P Global Mobility said in a report published in late November, one of the biggest issues is that some markets are shifting to EVs much faster than many anticipated. About 15% of new cars sold in Germany and the UK and more than 20% in China were electric in the first 3 quarters of 2022, according to Bloomberg data. While EVs accounted for 5% of US sales during the period, demand will likely jump thanks to tax breaks in the Inflation Reduction Act, signed into law in August. By mid-December, companies announced almost $28 billion of investment in EV-related manufacturing in North America. Toyota has substantially miscalculated in its EV strategy for North America, cannibalization fears. Toyota's pursuit of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles is backed by the country's trade ministry, which believes that hydrogen is key to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. The government said in June that by 2035 all cars sold should be so-called electric-powered vehicles with the proviso that hybrids are included. Japan's automakers and government leaders have been reluctant to push for a pivot to all-electric for fears it would cannibalize existing car sales and devastate a broad network of parts suppliers and subcontractors. EVs generally don't require as many components as traditional cars. Auto production is one of Japan's most important industries, accounting for almost 20% of manufacturing in the country and 8% of employment, according to a report by the Climate Group, an environmental organization. Toyota has promised to keep making around 3 million cars in Japan, around a third of its global output, to maintain employment and competitiveness. With an electric vehicle, basically half of Nagoya becomes unemployed, said Jesper Kahl, expert director of financial services company Monex Group, referring to the city in central Japan near Toyota's headquarters and where many parts manufacturers are based. The growth potential of the Japanese economy is definitely shrinking. Realizing that EVs are no longer the niche product they once were, however, Japanese companies are now stepping up investment projects, with Toyota spending 4 trillion yen, $30 billion, to launch 30 EVs by 2030. Honda Motor Co. is co-developing an electric SUV with GM for a 2024 debut and has another partnership with Sony Group Corp. to deliver premium EVs starting in 2026. Nissan, which began delivering Ariya electric SUVs to US customers in December, has boosted spending to introduce more models. Yet rivals are also picking up their pace with EVs. GM has been moving particularly quickly and may surpass Tesla in EV sales in 2025, according to Bank of America analyst John Murphy. GM's EV portfolio includes the Chevrolet Bolt hatchback and compact utility vehicles, Cadillac Lyriq SUV and GMC Hummer pickup, and the company expects to launch several more EVs this year. Will you order a Toyota EV? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about Toyota, Tesla, and anything else related with vehicles, we have got 2 more videos waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like, and subscribe for more videos related to cars. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.